Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bullony Basketball. As you can see, I'm here with a very special guest, my guy Trent, also known as Top Notch. How's it going, my man?
Doing good, man. I haven't been on the show in a while,
Mm.
but I'm ready to talk some hoops.
Yes, sir. It's been a minute since we collabed. I know you've done some of the tournament mini games. We got one at the end here today, but we're it's playoff time, and second round of the playoffs I think was pretty unpredictable, one could say. And we're just gonna hop right into it. So I think the first series we'll talk about is Oklahoma City Thunder Dallas Mavericks series. With Dallas winning in six, I feel like that wasn't maybe too much of a hot take like coming in, but at the same time, I think maybe in the way they won was a little bit impressive. But I mean, I'll get your thoughts first on this. With this Oklahoma City Thunder Dallas series, I guess were you shocked? And I guess like what do you make of Dallas now moving forward?
Well, I see a lot of people talking about how OKC is like the worst number one seed. I wouldn't go that far. OKC is very young, and it really just takes steps and development and more playoff experience. And I think they'll be back sooner. They'll be back next year. Obviously, they got to make some moves. Starting with Josh Giddey, I would not give him an extension. He was pretty much unplayable in that series. They kept changing the starting lineup, going to Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, because they needed more scoring out there. If you notice, the OKC offense was very stagnant. They couldn't really score when Shea was on the bench or anything like that.
Mm.
Jalen Williams is good, but as a second option, sometimes struggled and stuff like that. And Chet obviously still needs to improve. But overall, I love this OKC team. It's unfortunate that Dallas was even in this position because I was rooting for the Clippers this year, and they beat up my Clippers bad, and they didn't beat them up with just Kyrie Irving and Luka. Obviously, they did their thing, but their defense is what stood out to me mainly.
Mm.
Making those big trades with adding PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. Those two players stood out to me a lot. Even though this series, Daniel Gafford was more of a negative than the Clippers series. Just having those bigger bodies out there, PJ Washington knocking down some big shots, Derrick Jones Jr. playing some incredible defense, pretty much reviving this dude's career, signed a minimum deal with Dallas, and defensively that Dallas team is good. Kyrie Irving just playing just to win now. He ain't just, you're not seeing Kyrie Irving go for 30 anymore. He's being a playmaker. He's being more of a pest on the defensive end. So I like this Dallas team a lot. And OKC, if they had more options and was just a little bit bigger, if they had a legit center and more options coming off the bench, I think they had to win that series.
Mm.
But fun series overall.
Yeah, I think that's kind of one of the biggest things for OKC is it doesn't really feel like they have maybe too much size, but I mean it's also I think as Shea even said on the last game of the season when people thought like, what are they going to do in the playoffs with not much experience, and he said that their inexperience could help them in a way. And I think in parts of this series it kind of did. I think people thought maybe, like there was really surprises on both ends because I don't think Dallas closing out the last like 4 or 5 games like that was maybe on someone's radar. I also don't know if people thought like OKC was gonna, I guess, like punch first in the series. But I mean, when you look at Dallas as a whole, I agree. I think maybe like relative to these other teams that we have now in the Final Four, maybe their defense isn't quite on that par, but their defense is good enough. And I mean, when you factor in that they arguably have the best player remaining, they arguably have the best second option remaining. I think so far they're leading all these remaining teams in offensive rebounding and block shots. So it's like I guess like the size, like having size like down low in the front court is going to be huge, and I feel like they're not maybe like out of the picture there as well. So if the thing is if they could just keep shooting the three like they have, because Derrick Jones Jr. was hitting threes, probably better than he has in a while. I know it's like his best season shooting from three in his career, but I mean if he can just keep shooting like that, if PJ Washington can keep shooting threes like that, if Tim Hardaway Jr. can give you something consistently, like then it's gonna be tough to beat this team. But for OKC, it's like they're maybe they're gonna look back and think like, well, we probably could have won this series if a few things went differently. I mean, especially that foul at the end. I mean, like if you don't foul there, they probably win, and there's a game 7, and maybe they win the series. So, but I think that they're gonna be back. I think most of us realize that, and they're like an especially young team that even if like next season, like if an injury happened or something like that, like they're still gonna probably have like 6 seasons or 7 seasons at least where they're gonna be like in the picture.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's funny. I was watching this somebody rebuild OKC Thunder, on just on the game, and how many first round picks they have is just insane. So like even like they're like let pieces go, like maybe Isaiah Joe or Wiggins or whatever, because I think they have to have a contract extension. I think they bring them back, but even if they let them go, they have draft picks that could just replace them easily. And then one move that I think a lot of people are not talking about that I do think affected them, and then during the regular season it made a lot of sense, was that Gordon Hayward trade, because he didn't do nothing. He did not help the team at all. I think the veteran experience, when we thought the trade happened, I'm like, okay, this is good. He didn't score. He had 0 points. So, they traded Trey Mann, which, at the time, maybe he played, maybe he doesn't. But I tell you this, I think they gave up Davis Bertans too. He's unplayable, but if he was out there, that dude would probably took 100 threes, and you don't know what would have happened. There's games where this dude goes out there and looks like he's the best player in the court, doesn't miss, and then there's games where he just looks like he's the worst player in the NBA. So you just don't really know what happens with that stuff right there, because their bench unit did lack a lot of stuff. You've seen that they threw Kendrick Williams in there sometimes. But like you said, this OKC team is going to be completely fine. The Josh Giddey situation, I'm going to continue to keep bringing up, because he had to be a big part of that, and he didn't do much. I believe he averaged like 5 points during that series.
Yeah.
But before I go on, I cannot forget Derek Lively. Don't forget, Derek Lively was the main reason why they won this series. And also, Derek Lively and Casey Wallace, they swapped each other. They swapped for each other during the draft. And Casey Wallace is a cool player. I think he's solid defensively, offensively. Could be a bit better, but just think about that. Like Lively, offensively, defensively, like was the main reason why they won that game. So, OKC is probably looking back now, like, damn, we need to big on this team, because Jalen Williams and Chet are just too small. So even if they move and advance to the next round, Rudy Gobert and Cat would have dominated them.
Yeah, it's like, and it's weird too, because I mean, I don't even think a lot of people thought it really made sense at the time trading Lively, for Case and Wallace, because it's like you already have so many guards on this team. It's like, I think at that point it was like, Giddey was more being utilized also as like a complementary point guard with Shea. It's like, so you have just so many guys that are handling the ball and stuff like that. It's like, and if he's playing a 2 guard, then he's like kind of undersized. So I don't know. It just didn't really make a whole lot of sense. And then with the Gordon Hayward thing, I do agree. I think the trade was kind of a letdown. I just feel like and he even, I guess, like spoke out already since their elimination, but I feel like he just wasn't really comfortable in his role. Like, one, it's a team that, it's like, it's a little weird because he probably like almost felt like their dad in a way, just because like it's like a completely like different timeline, but also like, like he was getting maybe like 4, 5, 6 minutes a game in the playoffs, and I don't think he really thought he'd get that. I mean, like obviously their starting core was established all year, but I think he thought like, okay, I might be like the 6th or 7th man, and occasionally he would be like in small spurts, but then I feel like most of the time he just wasn't really used right, especially like in close games like that. Like you could run plays through him. Like, I don't know. I kind of felt bad for him because sometimes he'd be out there and he'd be in the offense, but like it seems like they like wouldn't ever give him the ball. So yeah. I don't know. But I mean, next season I'm sure that will probably be solved because I'm sure he'll probably find a new home. Yeah, but I overall I think they're fine. Like between him, Giddey, those are probably like the only 2 necessary people you might need to move, and then get a guy who can be another big to Chet.
I have a question for you. You want to move on. How do you feel about Jared Allen to OKC? Do you like that move?
Jared Allen, OKC. I feel like that would be a good move, but of course, I guess it depends like what they'd have to give up. Because I'm sure Cleveland, like they're probably gonna want one of their like top five, six ish players. So that would probably mean you trade Giddy. But I mean, if they're asking for like a Lou Dort or like a Jalen Williams or something like that, like then they're not gonna do that. Maybe the other Jalen Williams, but like not the J Dub Jalen Williams.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah, I don't know. But if you want, we can progress here, talk about the other Western Conference series, which probably was the most hyped up one in the whole second round, and that is the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Last year, played in the first round, Denver 1-5, and this year, I think we all knew it was going to be a better series just because the Wolves were healthy, and turns out it went 7 games, and the Timberwolves stole Game 7 in Denver. So, what were your thoughts on this series as a whole, the Timberwolves, and maybe like what's next for the Nuggets?
So it's funny that you say this, man. So if no, people don't know, I'm a Russ fan, right? So when he got eliminated, I said, what's the next team I'm rooting for, man? And I went straight to the Timberwolves. Personally, I love Ant. I think he's the future of the NBA. I just love his mentality. He is a dog. So when it went to Game 7, and the first half was awful. I mean, they were getting destroyed pretty much the whole game, and then even into that like third quarter, it was a 20-point game, right? And I think a lot of people thought it was over. And then defensively, the Minnesota Timberwolves started turning up. They made the Nuggets look like the Minnesota Timberwolves in that first half. They just flipped it around in the second half. And crazy thing is, Anthony Edwards didn't really have a great game, but he started gaining momentum in that third quarter, getting some stops, getting some easy dunks, getting some shots and stuff like that. And I just want to give a big shout out to Karl Anthony Towns because I'm not the biggest fan of him. I think he gets a lot of hate. But he played defensively against Jokic great as you can because the defensive player of the year couldn't stop him clearly the whole series, right? Offensively, he played great. He got the game winning putback pretty much to dagger it. And I think that was just a huge victory for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Shout out to Jaden McDaniels. He stepped up the last 2 games. And those are the main reasons why Minnesota kept winning because, Ant was getting double teamed. He didn't really know how to get through the double team. He was getting, you could tell he was getting frustrated. A lot of his teammates weren't making too much shots. McDaniels just started stepping up and stuff like that. So big win. But also, I knew the Timberwolves won when Rudy Gobert hit that bullcrap shot. The dude just threw a random shot up, and I knew they won after that because they stole all the momentum. And also, you got to realize they stole 2 games away from them at Denver already. So they already had the confidence, like, we can come in here and steal another one. And that's what they pretty much did. And when you just look at the numbers, right, the third quarter, Nuggets only scored 14 points, which is surprising. This is a championship team, right, with having Jokic, Jamal Murray. And then in the fourth, they scored 23. So they outscored them 28-32 in that third and fourth. They did their thing. And I'm excited that we get to see this year a young player will win a championship for the first time. No more LeBron, no more KD, no more Steph, all that. A young player will win an NBA championship for the first time, except Tyrese Halliburton. I don't want him to win. I sound like a hater, except him. But anyways, yeah, I thought it was impressive. I really liked them. And then also I have a question for you. Do you think Minnesota wins last year if they're healthy?
I don't think so. I just think like last year, like they would have had to have been healthy, I think, throughout the full season and Cat missed so much time. And then, even if McDaniels was playing in the postseason and stuff like that, and Naz Reid, like maybe they would have won another game, but I don't think they would have really done much. I also think, as much as like not to kind of give the Nuggets a pass, but I think Jamal Murray was a little more banged up this time than last time. Last time he came in like I think 100% fresh. This time it was more like a 70. Like even through that Lakers series, he didn't look right. But I will say for the Timberwolves, I mean this is a team that's really like designed to compete with a team like Denver because I think we all know Denver's not going anywhere. A team like OKC's on the rise, so it's just going to be a lot tougher. The thing that is really a little shocking for me because I mean, I think you know where I stand like with Denver and like Jokic especially. Like I'm pretty like pro Nuggets, I would say. But the thing that's I guess the most shocking for me is that when they won last year, they had such a drive at the parade to go back to back, and then they even said they said something different where they said we're not competing with anybody, but we're competing with ourselves from last year. Well, yourselves from last year won the championship, so this year you would have to do the same, only elevated. And when you get to the playoffs, it's like a flip switch that like they only wanted to give effort when they wanted to. You know, like even in the Lakers series, they really for most of the series got outplayed. But I mean, they were able to like flip a switch and they got through them because obviously they've had their up and downs all year, the Lakers. But a team like the Timberwolves, it's like they've been one of the top three teams all year in the Western Conference. You're not going to do that. And honestly, I don't know if it would have worked against the Thunder either, and they're even out. So like it's just like like you can't do that. And then as you heard, I think Mike Malone said it, Jamal Murray said it like after they lost that they're like it sucks because I feel like we should have won this game. I feel like we had the better team, and I do believe they really should have won. But when you play like only with effort, like it spurts, and the other team is playing hard 100% of the time, you're not going to win. You know, so
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree. I mean, I hate the Lakers, you know that. So, but the Lakers outplayed them every single game. I think they even had more points in them. So, like, it was concerning for me, but I don't think people was looking at it like that. Like, oh, they're still winning. They still swept them. Oh, well, whatever. One game more this time the Lakers did, right? But Denver came into this series. Then they lose the first two games, right? So then, but people overlooked that because, oh, Denver won 3 after. But Denver just wasn't as good this year. And it's funny because I know you remember this conversation we had back in the day. Oh, who's going to replace Bruce Brown? And everybody kept saying, oh, Christian Brown. Christian Brown's cool. Offensively, he's just not there yet. He's not replacing Bruce Brown. It's really just simple as that. And, going to the question about what's next for Denver, I think Denver's fine, but they need to find a little better bench unit because when you look at their bench unit, the leading scorer off their bench unit for this playoffs was Christian Brown, averaging 5 points a game. You needed a little bit more from Reggie Jackson. I mean, and after that, you got Justin Holiday, Peyton Watson, who didn't even play in this series much. And then also, just look at your star players that you paid. Aaron Gordon, what happened to you? Michael Porter Jr. was probably the most disappointment in the series because outside of 2 games, he had double single-digit points, 9 points, 4, 6, 8, and 7. In an elimination game, you can't put up 7 points, especially getting paid that much money. So if Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. just play how they played against the Lakers, then they're going to the next round. But I'm not worried about the Nuggets. When you have Jamal Murray, you have Jokic, the best player in the world, and Michael Malone, they'll be all right. They'll be fine. It's going to be tough. I'm not going to say they're going to go back there, but they just won a championship. There's a stat that came out pretty much saying that like a team that won a championship the previous year, they never get out the second round. They never. Well, I'm going to not say never, but I forgot how many years it was, but they'll be all right. Shout out to the Timberwolves, and Denver needs to bolster that bench, and like you said, Jamal was not healthy, and they were just tired. They were gassed out.
yeah. I don't know. I just think it's a little surprising. I think Mike Malone, in a way, didn't do his best coaching this series because for times, I mean, you mentioned the bench. I mean, honestly, I would say the bench exceeded expectations from like what people thought because it's like you have Naz Reid on the other side, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Kyle Anderson, which is like those are key parts of their bench, including the 6th man of the year. And there were some games where Denver's bench just straight up outscored the Timberwolves. And then even I think Justin Holiday had some big minutes throughout parts of this series. Felt like he hardly played in Game 7. I really don't get why throughout their run last year, I know he's older, but even for like 5 to 7 minutes sometimes, like DeAndre Jordan would play center. So it's like if Jokic needed a quick breather, you could put him in. It looked like by the end, Jokic was gassed, and it's like you missed that opportunity. But I think it really just like blowing a 20-point lead in the third quarter at home, it's almost like it comes down really to effort. And I guess it's kind of poetic because, I mean, they came back from down 20 in the last round, and that was probably the most demoralizing loss for the Lakers. And then, sure enough, they kind of do the same thing on like the last game, the other way around. So
Yeah, now you have a point. I mean, the bench did, exceed expectations, I guess. They just need more people that can score.
yeah,
That hustle and stuff like that is cool and all, but Jokic needs somebody that can help him out.
yeah. It felt like this whole series. It was a little bit like Giannis 2 years ago against the Celtics when Middleton was out, and it's like it's just gonna be about if Giannis can bring him there. And it felt like that if Jokic could just bring him there. Jamal played good in Game 7, but he wasn't even great most of this series either. So,
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. If you want, we can switch conferences here. Talk about the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers. I guess this was the quickest series. The Celtics won in 5 games. Obviously, Cleveland lost Donovan Mitchell midway through. Jared Allen didn't play. Karis LeVert didn't play the last game. So, granted, Kristaps Porzingis didn't play. But what do you make, I guess, of this series and both sides?
It's probably the most boring series I ever watched. I get it. You play who's in front of you. And people are going to say, well, Denver didn't play the greatest talent to win the championship last year, da-da-da-da. But Boston's road to the finals is probably the easiest path I've seen in a while. I mean, you play injured Miami Heat team, right? Mm-hmm. Then you go out there, you play injured Cavs team, and then you're going against the Pacers. The Pacers are young, they're excited and stuff like that. But just the Cavs alone is like, we knew this wasn't going to be a series. That's why I wanted their Magic to win, just to make it a little bit more competition, because Paolo, Franz, Suggs, like, they're going to go out there and compete. They're solid defensively, right? But the Cavs, Garland forgot how to play basketball. Evan Mobley, I remember John said he's going to be an MVP in this league. His offensive game is just not up there still. He still kind of struggles. He did play better, but that's because Mitchell was out, right? So, like, that team alone just wasn't good enough. You relied on Karis LeVert coming off the bench to provide, but he's just too streaky, inconsistent. Max Strus, Georges Niang, those are the players you brought in during the offseason for more wing help and shooting. Didn't really do too much. That Cavs team is just not great at all. They're just not good, to be honest. I mean, that's a Mitchell-made team. Like, it's just simple as that. And then, obviously, we talked about Jared Allen earlier. I think they need to move on from him because having a Mobley and Allen just doesn't make sense to me at all. At least, like, when you look at the Timberwolves, Cat can spread out the floor, shoot the three. None of them really give you that on the offensive end. So it's just like it's just tough to use. Regular season's cool, but in the postseason, like, if you're a smart coach and whatever, you know how to abuse that stuff like that. And then I'm hearing the reports that he didn't want to take something for his ribs and whatever the case may be. So the Celtics get another easy matchup. But I will say for the Celtics, right? I think the Celtics, they live. If you notice, a lot of the game, well, they only lost one game, but the game that they did lose to the Cavs just outshot them from the 3-point line. They had a really, really good game. But the games that they are losing before against the Heat was another game where they just lost by not defending the three. This team, they like to just chuck threes. And if the three's not going in, they're most likely going to lose. So I get it. The Pacers are not the greatest team coming up, but yeah, like, the Pacers can compete with the Celtics team, and I don't care what anybody says. They can. Yeah. If the Celtics don't come to play, like, you're not having the Heat that's injured. Like, this Pacers team's healthy, so they can't just go out there and just be like, okay, these are the last two teams. They can't do that because they will get struck for a couple of games. But overall, the Cavs Celtics series just sucked.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks. I think mostly with the injuries. I mean, yeah. I'm a big Donovan Mitchell guy. I'm not saying the Cavs would have won this series even if he played, but I do think they would have won at least another game. I think mostly Game 4, like, because you lose at home, like, you got to respond, and pretty much they always have had a response, like, up to this point in the playoffs. It's like they got punched in Orlando twice. They responded. Punched in Game 6. They were down big in Game 7, and then they came back from that. But, like, I don't know. I think it would have been a different series because I really think Donovan Mitchell was the best player in this series up until he got hurt. You know, like he was outplaying Tatum and Brown too. And it sucks because if you remember when Cleveland went on, they had a 19 game stretch this season where they won 18 of 19 games. They went 18-1. And if you remember, like who was on the floor in those games, it was Donovan Mitchell was healthy, Jared Allen was healthy, but they were without Darius Garland and Evan Mobley. So they found their most success there. So it almost feels like it was like the worst case scenario, or ironic in a sense, that by the end of the season, Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen are on the sidelines and Darius Garland and Evan Mobley are on the court. Like that's not really where they found their most success. And so that's why I was kind of hoping, for the sake of the series, like once Jared Allen went out, I was hoping he would come back, but not come back and get inserted the same way, but maybe make him like a bench big. Like I think almost everyone at this point has said if you're going to have this team with Cleveland, the best way to make it work is if you stagger the bigs. And that would have been a perfect opportunity to do it because like you're slowly bringing Jared Allen back, and because seeing Tristan Thompson minutes in 2024 is like horrible. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I feel like it would have been great for them. And then, I guess it just didn't work out. But I feel like this could have been a 6-game, maybe 7-game series. I mean, they probably still would have lost Cleveland, but you just never know with Boston because they play up to comp, they play down the comp sometimes. So, and in this series, I think I got to give them credit. Like they, especially on the road, like they were able to manage a lot of Cleveland's runs despite how limited they were near the end of the series. And that's kind of a good sign moving forward. But like you said, I mean, it's not going to be necessarily easy against the Pacers. And this is a Pacers team who, if you remember, they beat them in the in-season tournament. So I'm sure that they have that in the back of their mind too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Do you want to talk about the Celtics Pacers or
we could
briefly?
well, we could recap the Knicks Pacers and then
Okay.
we could talk a little bit about that. But
Okay.
yeah, so I mean, with this series also going to 7, Pacers pull it off. I think in a little bit of an improbable way despite how limited the Knicks were, but I guess what do you make of the Pacers winning this series and then I guess like them moving forward with Boston?
I see. The problem is, I think the Knicks and everybody in the world thought, okay, let's just get ready for the Eastern Conference Finals. Knicks Celtics. Let's run it up. Knicks Celtics. Knicks Celtics. And the Pacers, after they got blown out, they did not look back. They did not look back. They fought. One of my main complaints was, what the hell happened to Tyrese Halliburton? Before the injury, after the injury, whatever. Like, what happened? And then for a while, I'm like, nah, I think that was just a fluke. Like, I'm thinking this is a fluke because, like, you keep using this injury excuse. I'm just like, I'm not buying it. But during that playoff run, against the Knicks, he showed out and he did what he did. And the crazy thing is, when you look at this Pacers team, is like, if you don't really watch hoops, you're gonna be like, who the hell is Andrew Nemhart and Aaron Nesmith? And these are very important pieces to their team. Very important pieces, and they're so young. I mean, I think Nesmith didn't even miss. He went 8 for 8, and his mid-range game was incredible. Andrew Nemhart, so young, had 20 points. But man, let's talk about TJ McConnell because his defensive pressure, him, Nesmith, Shepard, the rookie that's coming off the bench, throwing different bodies at Jalen Brunson, definitely affected Brunson's play. I don't care what anybody says. Brunson's numbers can look good. It definitely affected it because when you see different bodies, I play basketball. When you see different bodies and they're pressing you as soon as you get the ball. You can't even pass the ball in. I'm sure you watched the game. There were some turnovers where they had 5-second violations. They're having inbound steals and getting and ones. Like, that's being annoying. That's called being a pest. And they were being a pest to Jalen Brunson near the end of the series. And that just goes shout out to the coaching staff, man, because that was a really, really good adjustment. But going to TJ McConnell, this dude would give you 20 to 24 minutes coming off the bench. His playmaking will be up par. He can hit the mid-range, which seems like it's going back into the days of Sean Livingston. This dude can't miss the damn mid-range at all. Every time I'm watching him play, he's hitting a mid-range. And his defensive pressure is just insane. Like, this young team, I'm very impressed. Isaiah Jackson comes off the bench. He only gives you like 8 to 10 minutes, but in those 10 minutes, he's getting you offensive rebounds, blocks. He's giving you points. 9 points in 10 minutes is huge. Obi Toppin, man, he had an insurgent with the team. Didn't play too well during the last game, but throughout the series was incredible, knocking down threes. Like, this young team is here to stay for a while. The big three of Pascal, Miles Turner, and Tyrese Halliburton continue to do their thing. You know, Miles Turner always going to be the stretch 4, stretch 5, protect the rim, can shoot the 3. I was shocked they won, but I'm tired of the excuse. Oh, the Knicks, they gutted out. They were this, they were that. Man, listen, you just got beat. I understand the Knicks didn't have a lot of their players. I get it. They were hurt. But Josh Hart was still out there. Jalen Brunson was still out there. I get it. He broke his hand near the end of the season. But you shouldn't even been down that much in the first half at all. You shouldn't. This is a game 7. Like, that's inexcusable. Why are you down that much? You just can't do that. And the Knicks can't come back. They don't have enough scoring. And we've seen it before when the Pacers blew them out. The Knicks make a couple of runs. They put it to a 6-point game, but they can never really officially come back. The team just didn't have it. So shout out to the Pacers. I think this is gonna be a whack Eastern Conference Finals. Maybe I'm just being a hater. I don't know, but they got some dogs over there because Tyrese Halliburton was talking crazy to fans and everybody else. So
yeah, I think and from the players you were just mentioning, even on the Pacers, like that group of players, like whether Shepard, McConnell, Isaiah Jackson, like all of them along with their starting lineup, like that's a combined like 10 guys that are in this rotation. And we're not even counting Benedict Mathurin, who's been hurt the whole playoffs. So it's like you think about this team, it's like there's just so many players, and it's like they're probably even going to take a step up next year. Now, granted, like, obviously you said with the injuries to the Knicks, and I know people were even saying like with the Bucks, it's like, there is a possibility maybe they aren't here, but at the same time, it's like you can't really hold that against the Pacers. I think it was a little unfortunate for the Knicks. I feel like some of them, like the wear and tear was coming down. Now, I don't know too much about, this might sound like me being a hater, but I don't know too much about Brunson's injury because I'm not going to lie. He was playing like horrible prior to that, and it almost felt like a get out of jail free card type of injury when he left before the fourth quarter. That might be all speculation. I'm willing to open up to that, but that's just what it felt like. But no, I think overall, like the Pacers, like they play with the pace, ironically, that could match with Boston, and that's why it's not going to be like some easygoing series. And again, like I said, the in-season tournament like doesn't, I guess, hold a whole lot of weight because it's like naturally you look at the teams, like some of the teams in it, like the Lakers and Pelicans, and they've been home for a while now, so like it doesn't say a whole lot. But one thing I do think it says is for a team that doesn't have playoff experience like the Pacers did at that point, going against a team like Boston, I think that gives them more belief. Now, that was before the Siakam trade, but, I mean, speaking of Siakam, I feel like so far this playoffs has kind of been redemption because I don't know if you remember, like, I mean, they won the championship, obviously, with Toronto, but then Kawhi left, and then the next year it was kind of his team, and he was terrible in the bubble playoffs. Like, honestly, if he was even remotely close to what he was, they might have went to the finals, too, or at least, went to the Eastern Conference Finals and played your Heat. But the point is, like, he didn't do that. And I feel like right now, like, especially that game, like, in the last, like, 4 or 5 games of that series, I feel like he really stepped it up, and I was kind of impressed with what he did. So if he can, play to the caliber of a Jason Tatum or a Jaylen Brown in this series, and you got Tyrese Halliburton to come along with him, it's gonna make for an interesting series. But yeah, I mean the Knicks, they didn't have the depth of the scoring options, I guess, that the Pacers had, and I don't know. I think like most of what their success came from in the series was really off like the offensive glass, and that's kind of who they are. But I think if you're just playing a team that's shooting lights out, like it's not much you can do.
Yeah, let me clarify something. When I say boring series, it's like we kind of wanted Knicks and Celtics to make it, those are the two interesting teams. I think the Pacers, like I said earlier, the Pacers and Celtics are going to be an interesting series because the Pacers can beat the Celtics. They can. Do I see them going to the finals? I don't think so, but let me not doubt this team again because, when you have a team like the Pacers that really, the expectations was to, okay, maybe win round one, win round two, okay. But, like, they didn't have high expectations. I understand they made the move to get Pascal, but their expectations wasn't like the Knicks this year or, the Celtics. Like, their Eastern Conference or bust or finals or bust. Like, the Pacers weren't in that position. So, right now, the Pacers are just, like, they're having fun out there. They're just having fun. You could tell, and Tyrese Halliburton is just I'm seeing another side of him, which I do like. But, yeah, man, like you said, this team could really go. If you even think about it, too, they had a high pick in Jarris Walker, who didn't really play much this year. If he can just develop into something, too, he may mess with Isaiah Jackson's minutes. But this team is just fun. They're deep, well-coached, and shout out to them. And I'm just imagining if they really had Mathurin, because he can produce off that bench. And that would have definitely been something interesting. But we're going to see. Last thing I will say is Tyrese Halliburton, we don't need you leading the league in assists in the postseason. We need you to score. Because if you notice a lot, he looks to pass more than score. He changed it a little bit, but he has a lot of easy buckets. And I'm like, go for the layup. And he's like, no, I just want to pass the ball. You got to score. You're the best player on your team. You got to score. And he has showed out his threes. I've been seeing a lot of things. I don't know if you've been seeing this on X. They said Tyrese Halliburton travels every shot he takes at the three-point line.
He does stutter his feet a lot. I know that, but
yeah. So somebody was complaining about that. I'm like, bro, everybody's complaining about this because the Pacers are in the Eastern Conference Finals, man. Just let them be. And yeah, man, it was a fun series. I'm just upset. I lost money. Had the Knicks winning, but like you said, that Jalen Brunson injury came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's I mean, and the one thing I guess to look forward to with this series is that. Even though Boston was a great home team in the playoffs, you even heard Jaylen Brown say it feels like they play more with a chip on the road, and right now they've split the first two home games each series. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's 1-1 going back to Indiana, and the Pacers haven't lost at home yet. So maybe, if there's any team that could take advantage of it, obviously your Heat were injured, and obviously Cleveland was injured by Game 4. Maybe the Pacers are the ones to do it, so. I don't know. But
I agree.
If you want, though, we can move on here to the next topic. And we don't have to spend, I guess, too much time on this. But obviously, since the end of the first round, the NBA draft lottery happened. The Atlanta Hawks got the number 1 pick. And so rumors already started swirling about Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, Clint Capella. And as well, we also have the NBA draft combine. So... a lot of people are talking about most notably Bronny and where his draft stock lies. So I guess with this upcoming draft, what do you expect from the standpoint of the prospects coming in, as well as maybe players that could be potentially traded based on where they got a draft pick?
So just specifically talking about the Hawks, they get a number 1 pick. That is kind of insane. Didn't expect that. And I seen this thing. It was like, do not tank, guys, because just think about it. A lot of teams were tanking. Look at the Pistons, and they're at the 5th pick. Look at the Portland Trailblazers. They're getting the 7th pick. Remember that whole Dame situation? Tanking in the NBA doesn't really get you anywhere, to be honest with you. It does and it doesn't. But going back to the Hawks getting the number 1 pick, I think it's time to it's been time, but they need to blow it up. Clint Capella needs to get off the team because I think they're gonna go with Sarr. And then Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. What do you do with that? Because they can't play together. I don't think they could play together. Murray plays better without Trae Young, believe it or not. And it's just really, what is Trae Young's value? There's rumors that Trae Young wants to go, link to the Lakers. The Lakers want everybody. They want everybody. So it's just what do you do with that? What do you do with, you have so many young pieces over there, like Jalen Johnson, DeAndre Hunter. They got Bogan. Is it Bogan or Bojan? I always get confused with them.
Bogdan, yeah.
Bogdan, yeah. So you have pieces that championship teams want 100%. So if you're gonna go with the number one pick and go from there, take the best available, of course. And let's just start trading up. Let's start trading our players because even with this team healthy, they're not going anywhere in the Eastern Conference. Like, let's just be honest. So I think you do that. And then a lot of people saying for the draft prospects, well, this is one of the worst drafts. I mean, in my opinion, I think this could be one of the underrated drafts just because of the fact that a lot of people don't know, like, a lot of people don't know the bigger names in this draft, and a lot of people don't know, like, even going down a little bit more, like, 11th to, like, 15th or whatever. And this is where the players are underrated and they come out to the league and start playing impressive basketball. Be like, what the hell? Who's Ron Holland? Or who's Isaiah Collier? Or like, who the hell is this player? And they just come out, or Jeremy King, whatever the case may be, and they surprise a lot of people. And so I'm excited to see what this draft can bring. Do you think it's the worst draft class?
I don't know if I'll say it's the worst. I think the worst draft class that I've seen so far is the 2000 drafts. Like, you had Kenyon Martin, Michael Redd, Hito Turkoglu, and Jamal Crawford. That's probably the Mount Rushmore of that class. And those are all pretty good players, but it's like there's not one Hall of Famer in sight. So, there could be maybe one in this class. I think Sarr has potential. I think Topic has potential. We'll see like what happens maybe. I know Donovan Clingan played well in the tournament, but I think he also could be a guy that translates well into the NBA given his role. But I don't know. I think with this number one pick for the Hawks, it puts Clint Capella in a interesting spot. He could be in trade rumors. I think it also puts Okongwu in an interesting spot because we don't know what they're totally going to do. And if I'm another team and if he's on the table, I would try to get that ASAP, because it almost feels like he's never really got an opportunity to show what he can do, to his fullest potential with the Hawks. And you might want to try and do that now, especially with another guy that could be coming in. So, and the other thing I will say, not with the Hawks, but with the draft lottery in general, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but if you notice, the Spurs got the 4th pick and the 8th pick. I know everyone's already saying it's time. You can't wait. Put some talent around Wemby to get it going. So I could see them packaging both those picks for a legit player, maybe.
It's an interesting idea, but I don't think they do it yet. I mean, let's relax. Wemby been in the league for 1 year. What are we rushing? That's the thing. What are we rushing? When you look at these young teams, you don't need to always trade for the big star yet. OKC hasn't done it yet, right? They literally just developed all their players. Do I think they do it now? Eventually, yeah, I think they do it soon. But this is their first year. Let it relax. Let it be out. They're projected to get Topic. They need a point guard, so maybe that's the guy that they go after, right, to help Victor. Because think about it, you go after a Chris Paul or a Trae Young or any of these point guards. Do you see them staying there long term? No.
Yeah, no.
I don't. So it's why are we rushing? Why are we rushing to the Spurs to get into the play-in to watch Victor play more? Cool. I think he's excellent. But let it be. That's one of my problems that I didn't have patience. I remember that I gave up on LaMelo Ball so quick. When he's healthy, he's a beast. Let these young players develop, let them get chemistry, and let them play. So no, don't. If there's nothing available, go with the 2 lottery picks. You take Topic was a point guard, and they have them taking Ron Holland at 8. I don't know how. These are mock drafts, mind you, so it can obviously change.
I know he was projected number 1 most of the year, I think, but.
So I mean that would be huge if he falls to 8, So I'm not for it. Just let this Spurs team do what they got to do. You have the greatest head coach, in my opinion, still, and Popovich. So no, let's just keep it as is what they're doing right now.
I do think, and I agree with you. I don't think they need to make a move. I just know that's I guess what league circles have been saying. Maybe they could. I feel like if they were to make a move though for those picks, you'd only want to do it for a guy who I feel could easily buy into the culture. And, it might seem like a risk because he'd only have 1 more year locked in on his deal. But if they were to go that route and if he were available, then maybe you could go for Donovan Mitchell and pair him with Wemby. I feel now that would be an interesting duo. But I don't think that'll happen. I think realistically they probably will either keep all their picks, or realistically the second option might be make a move for Trae Young, which I don't really know how I feel about that. But overall, I mean, it should be interesting. And then I guess like your thoughts on just Bronny with the combine and like I guess his potential.
Man, listen, and I talked about this, on other shows and stuff like that. I feel kind of bad for Bronny because they're using Bronny as a smokescreen to get LeBron James, and I think that's not the right way to do it. Because Bronny is going to be a fine young player. I personally think it. I don't think he's going to be a big scorer, but I do think he named players that he looks after, like Derek White and Drew Holiday. Like I think he has that skill talent. I think he's going to be really good defensively when he gets bigger, stronger. He has the IQ. He knows how to play the game. And honestly, the draft combine actually helped him because there was a point in time where it's like, well, he was from like the 84th pick, maybe I think it was 84th to like the 58th pick now. So like he's going up rankings. He's showing personally, do I think he should go in the draft? No, I think he needs to go back to college for one more year. I'm not saying do 4 seasons, Bronny. I think you need to just go there for one more year, be a more consistent shooter, be better offensively. Because remember, it's cool to be a two-way player, defensive player. But remember, in the big moments in the playoffs, we're talking like Jaden McDaniels, who comes up to my mind, great defensively. Lou Dort, great defensively. They kind of struggle a little bit. Yes, they've been working on their shot, but sometimes they can be unplayable. If they're not hitting shots, it's like, you're not really helping the team much. So just go back for one more season. There's no point of rushing. You're going to get to the league. There's no way you're not going to the league, right? You left the Trojans. Go to your team and let's see what you could do. But we'll see. Doesn't he have until June something to back out? I think it's.
I think it's May 29th.
Oh, May 28th.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or something.
So that's in about a week or so. It's interesting to see what he does. But I do think with his stock continue to rise up, he may stay. I don't know. What do you personally think? Does he stay in the draft or does he go back to college?
I think he will come into the draft, and I do agree. I think it's kind of wrong because it almost feels like it's all for like, oh, we have a chance at LeBron. And it's not right because like one, you don't even know if LeBron's going to join honestly, from what it seems like you're hearing now is that it's like it seems almost less likely that if Bronny did get drafted that LeBron would want to try and make his way onto that team. So that's already like a bigger risk that a team would take. But if I'm him, I probably would go back to school. I mean, Isaiah Collier was their best player this year in college, and now he's coming into the draft. So it's like there's going to be a lot of like scoring opportunities opening up on that team. And especially like, I mean, defensively, from at least like what I saw, like some of the scouts were saying is that like he has he can make noise defensively in the NBA, even though he's maybe smaller for the way he plays, like his position. But the thing is, it's just about like, can he be a decision maker, a playmaker? Can he score? Can he shoot? Like at that level. And you've seen like glimpses of it in the combine, but it doesn't seem like they think that's there. So I feel like if you went to college and showcased that, like you'd have a better chance of rising your stock than right now. Like I feel like if you're like a freshman, like coming in, like almost any other freshman at least, if they were projected 54th, they're automatically going to go back to school. Unless they're probably projected first round, they're going back to school. You know what I mean? And so that already should be an indicator, but I don't really know what he's going to do. I also don't know if it's like he feels like he's obligated to come into the draft because he wants like to play with his dad before his dad retires. I don't really know,
Yeah, I'll say this one more thing, and then we can move on. Think about it, too. Like, if LeBron was to go play with Bronny's not going to be a lottery pick. He's not going to be a high first-round pick. He's going to be in the second round. So those second-round picks are some good teams. So say if he lands on the Celtics, LeBron ain't going to those Celtics to team up with Tatum and Brown. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. So, like, maybe when LeBron's like, yo, this is my last shit. Like, even that, he's on a contract. I don't see it happening. Let Bronny be. Stop thinking about LeBron James and do not compare Bronny to LeBron ever. LeBron's one of the best players of all time. Bronny would not get to that. It's really just simple as that. But I do think he'll have a good career. Stop comparing him. Let the kid breathe. And because he's going to have a long time in the NBA with just the comparisons. Well, Bron did this when he was 20. Why isn't his son doing it? It's just going to be annoying. So, yeah, go back to college, Bronny.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Bronny, but I do agree. I think he needs at least another year in college. Then we reassess, and then I guess we'll kind of have a better idea for what kind of player he could be. But if you want, you can move on to the mini game to close out the show, and this one is the NBA EMOJI mini game. So I'm gonna show my guy Trent here 10 emojis. It could be current players or former players. I think they'll start to maybe get harder as it goes on, but you'll have 3 chances to guess what player it is. If you get it on the first guess, you get 3 points. Second guess, 2 points. Third guess, you get 1 point. And if you don't after that, then you get no points for that question. And, yeah, pretty simple, honestly. So are you ready?
All right, man, let's go.
All right, so the first one, I'm going to just show it on my phone here. This is the first one. I think it should be pretty simple. If you can see, it's like a cat.
Swiper. Is
Uh,
that a cat you said?
yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but
Oh, yeah. Is that De'Aaron Fox?
it is not De'Aaron Fox.
Mitchell?
It is not Mitchell.
Damn, who the hell is it?
You have
You gonna let me know?
I will let you know, but you have one more guess.
Okay. Cat?
Yeah, it's.
Interesting. But I feel like I know this, and it's like
I mean, just I guess think about what the emoji is. I feel like
okay. Shit. I know. I see it. Bro, I don't know. I don't know actually.
I'll give you a hint. He's still in the playoffs.
He's still in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The only one I can think of is
I would say don't overthink it. It's pretty straightforward.
Is it Cat?
It is Karl Anthony
Yeah,
Towns.
okay.
Yeah.
So I had Cat in my head, but I put PUSSY. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Cat.
That's funny. Okay, well, but you still did get it. Okay, so you got a point there.
Let's go.
I feel like you'll get this one even quicker though. So number 2.
Is that a book?
It is.
Devin Booker?
It is Devin Booker. You are correct. Yep. So I told you that one would probably be a little easier.
Yep.
Now, number 3. Let's see how you do on this one.
Is that a spider, Donovan Mitchell?
You are correct. It is Donovan Mitchell. So you're kind of on a roll now. The first one we had a little hiccup, but you've got 3 points on each of the next ones. Now, and here's number 4. Now, like I said, it could be a former player too.
Okay.
So here is number 4.
Is that a pigeon or a bird?
It's just a regular bird.
Okay. Is this Larry Bird?
It is Larry Bird. Yes.
Okay.
All right. So 3 points right there. Now number 5. We'll see if you can get this one.
I'm assuming that's a pig or something. Or cat.
I don't know if you can see better. It's like a.
I can't really see that.
It's like
Is
a
that
boxing, like a boxing.
Oh, okay, boxing glove. Interesting. Okay. Ooh. Damn, this one's good. Oh, and this is a player that's in the league right now. James. What's his? James Johnson.
It is not James Johnson. That's a good guess though. It could be a current or former player still.
Okay.
I'll show it again.
Yeah, now I see it.
I feel like the red's reflecting weird, but yeah.
This one's tough. I'm gonna be honest with you. This one is definitely tough. I'm gonna throw another guess in there though. Dennis Rodman.
It is not Dennis
I'm trying to think of
Rodman.
someone.
But
I'm
wait,
trying to think of someone tough.
I would say, I think the emoji, it would most help with his nickname rather than his toughness, if that helps.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, that does help a little bit.
You got one guess
Man,
left.
Man, I'm just gonna throw a random name out there because I'm not too sure. I don't know, like KG. I'm not too sure.
That's not a bad guess, but it is unfortunately not KG. It was the glove himself, Gary Payton.
Oh, okay. Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So when I see boxing, I'm thinking like, I don't know. Okay. Gotcha.
There was like, obviously there's another glove emoji, but I'm like, if I just put that, I feel like it'd be too obvious, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the boxing glove, I tried to like throw you off a little with like other people that might be tough like that.
Definitely did.
Okay, so that's the first 5. Now the second 5, the second half are all going to be 2 emojis, but it's going to be relative to just one player again, and it could be current or former.
Yeah.
So I think this one's pretty straightforward, but here's number 6.
Dame.
That is correct. It is Damian Lillard. Yeah, pointing at the watch. Pretty straightforward. Now, number 7. This one, we'll see. I feel like it could be really easy or it could be really difficult, but we'll see. It's kind of hard to see, but this is like the color green in a circle.
Oh, and the spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oof. Is it the Jet Kenny Smith?
It is not Kenny Smith.
Okay. I don't know. So you see a spaceship, Jason.
Trying to see if I can like put it in here better.
I feel like I know this and I'm blanking it. This is gonna be a wild one. Is it Jason Terry?
It is not Jason Terry.
Okay. Spaceship, green spaceship.
You got one more guess.
Oof. Man, I know this is not the answer, but I really don't know. But I'll just say one of your favorite. Man, I'll just say something random. So Westbrook. I don't know this one.
It is not Russell Westbrook. The correct answer was Jalen Green. So it was like a rocket because he's on the Rockets, and then green, like the color green.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
I wasn't even thinking of.
That,
Okay, wow.
that one was a little tough. I feel like that one might have been the hardest one, but maybe number 10 might be hard too, but we'll see. Okay. So number 8, again, it could be a current or former player. Here's number 8. If I can.
So that's a muscle.
It's a muscle and like a clock.
Oh, muscle and a clock.
A muscle and a clock. Like a clock tower, I would say.
And now you're getting me right now. You're getting me right here. Is this Stoudemire?
It is not Stoudemire.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint though. You're kind of on the same. You're on the right timeline of players, kind of.
Okay. Oof.
I wish it would show better.
Muscle and a clock. Okay, just one question.
Yep.
Does he have the same last name as Stoudemire, or is it totally different?
No. It's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, damn. I gotta see these players real quick. Clock. Man. Okay, now I'm about to freeze out. Oof. Let me see the thing again real quick.
You want to see it again?
Yeah, strong.
So it's like the strong. Okay, there we go. That's a little better.
Oh, that's way better. Time clock. Tick. Okay, hold up. Time clock. Hold up. Hold up.
He's thinking.
I know this. Actually. I know this time clock. Okay. I'm gonna go old school. Um. Okay, I'm just gonna throw this first option out there first. It's not Tim Duncan, right?
It is not Tim Duncan.
Okay. Ah, man. Ooh. I mean, I don't know, man. I really don't know.
You got one more guess you can make if you want.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say Hakeem again. I'm not too sure.
That is incorrect. The correct answer was Ben Wallace.
Ben Wallace. Okay.
So like the clock
So
tower is supposed to be like a Big Ben, and then like the strong, because I guess he's strong. But okay.
Come on, Trent. I need one. I just need one, man.
I feel like this one you might actually get though. So here's number 9. Here we go.
Is that a peace sign in
It is. Yeah.
And a map? Not a map, a world.
The globe. Yeah.
Meta world peace.
It is Meta World Peace. You got it. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So that was number 9. Now we're on the last one. I feel like this last one, this would be a crazy pull if you could get this one, but we'll see. So here we go.
See it.
Let's see.
So it's a book.
It's
a house.
It's a bunch of books on top of one another, and yes, a house.
Damn. Is it Tim Duncan?
It is not Tim Duncan.
Okay. Two more answers. A box. Damn. What the? Damn. Okay.
I feel like this one's the toughest one.
Yeah. A box in a house.
They're like, yeah, it's like 3 books, but I would say that the books part isn't so much relevant to the person.
Okay. Oh man, this one's tough, man. Okay, it's not Tim Duncan, of course. I'm just gonna maybe is it Kareem?
It is not Kareem. You got one more guess.
In a house. That should be something. How about this? Luke Ridnour.
That's a crazy answer at the end.
I need to. Who is this?
It is not Luke Ridnour. The correct answer was Jerry Stackhouse, because it's a stack of books and then a house right next to it.
Interesting. Okay. Yep.
I feel like that one's a little tough though, because it's like you have to think a little bit outside the box for that one.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about him.
I don't know if I would have got that one. But I mean, still overall, you got in the first half you got 10 points. You got another 6 points in the second half, so you still got 16 points overall. I feel like that's pretty respectable. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel like there was a couple ones I knew and I just blanked out, but I mean, I'll take it. I'm pretty sure, with Garrett, he's always putting people in competition, so I'm pretty sure, there's people that, this is going to be in a tournament.
It might be. Right now, you're the only one who's done it, so I guess you're kind of like king of the throne right now. But
until what's his name gets on it.
Reek.
Reek, yeah, that dude Reek, yeah.
Yeah, Reek does he does have a history with these mini games.
Yeah.
And but I mean, overall, I mean, still thought that was a good showing, and I think it was a good episode. Hopefully you guys at home enjoyed. Appreciate you guys for watching. You got any other final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, man, appreciate you for having me on. It was a great episode, and I'm ready for the playoffs. Comment down who you got. Minnesota, Dallas, Pacers, Celtics. And let's get this final season on the road, man.
For sure. Should be exciting. It's a weird Final Four. Don't think anyone would have expected any of these teams, except maybe Boston, here. But here we are. I guess we got to see how it unfolds. But again, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. And we're out. Peace.